wind chill means. It means when the wind's blowing, that's how it feels, about 30 degrees. You saw a lot of guys with beanies on, gloves are on, hoodies on. Fans are out there trying to eat and drink anything they could to stay warm. And the San Francisco Giants lost today in New York 8-4. Opportunities were here for the Giants to take this game, opportunities later in the game. We talked about this all last year, runners in scoring position, and today it bit them again, 2 for 11. They left 10 runners on base, and it really didn't hurt. You know, this team was just battling the whole time, and I say this because people here in California don't know how cold it is and how you have to play baseball in the cold weather. Your ears are cold, your nose is cold, you're drooling all the time, your hands are freezing. You can't stay warm and try to relax and get comfortable. It's not an excuse. It's playing in cold weather. That's what it's about. The Yankees did it. They got 11 hits today. The Giants did. They got 6 hits today. But it all turned over in the 5th inning. When you look at this game in the beginning, Jordan Hicks against Will Warren, boy, the odds were with the Giants right there. They were against the Yankees. Jordan Hicks, 2 good games. Threw against Houston, of course, just really spectacular game in Houston, 6 innings, 1 hit. Then he came into Seattle, and he really battled that game, going 5 1/3, only giving up 3 earned runs. Had a 2.3 earned run average coming in to today's game, 11 1/3 innings, 11 punch-outs, ball solid for the Giants. And you look at Will Warren, and this kid was struggling. When you look at a 25-year-old kid, threw against Arizona and Pittsburgh, only lasted 9 innings in both those games, giving up 6 earned runs, a home run, and 5 walks. So you felt, hey, this is a good shot. The Giants could chase this kid. Well, it didn't work out that way for the orange and black today. In the first inning, Will Warren walked a guy, but he got through it. Well, Jordan Hicks got out there, and of course, the main man of the Yankees in the pinstripes, Aaron Judge, gets a base hit second time up. Cody Bellinger seeing the first pitch, a ball out over the plate, and he hits a ball to left field. And I just wonder if it was misplayed, because you saw Elliot Ramos go back on the ball. The wind's gusting from right field to left field, and he reached up and just couldn't catch it. And right then and there, he hits a triple, run scores. And then, of course, Paul Goldschmidt, Mr. Diamondback himself, gets a fly ball to right field. And the New York Yankees open the game up with a 2-0 lead. Giants come back, and no doubt, you talk about Wilmer Flores. He's the hottest Giant there is, really one of the best hitters in the National League at the present time. Well, Elliot Ramos on an 0-2 fastball got it up and out, and he hits out to right center for a double. Lamont Wade Jr. rips a ball to Goldschmidt at first base. And Wilmer Flores comes up with a 1-1 and a sinker left over the plate, and he goes oppo to right center field for his 6th home run. Game's tied, 17 RBIs at that time for Wilmer Flores. But after that, the Giants couldn't get on base. Will Warren comes up 10 in a row, 10 hitters up, 10 down, until finally Fitzgerald gets a walk in the top of the 5th inning. But he comes back and punches out Yastrzemski. Against Will Warren, Yastrzemski went 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs, 2 looking. So he was dialed in. Really a nice game for Will Warren. He goes 91 pitches, 54 for strikes. This is what I always talk about, first pitch strikes. 14 first pitch strikes with 19 hitters, 3 ground ball, 2 fly ball. And he had a nice mixture today. He had 5 different pitches going. The fastball about 94 miles an hour. The sweeper, of course, that's the slider, kind of a sweeping look. A sinker, a changeup, and a curveball. And the mix was really on the top 3 pitches. The fastball, the sweeper, and the sinker. Got a lot of ground balls. As I said, 3 ground ball outs. Got a lot of foul ball check swings, things like that, just to get him ahead of the count. 94 pitches was a lot. The Giants were in this count very quickly and got to it, but they just couldn't put the ball in play to get a knock. And he comes out, and Fernando Cruz comes in. They end up getting on base with him. They had opportunities in this game in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. They had bases loaded and nobody out, and they only got 2 runs, and that was on Wilmer Flores' base hit. Opportunities. I'm going to keep throwing it out there as the Giants had those today. And, you don't want to make excuses how cold it is and you couldn't hit the ball, but the New York Yankees did. Opportunities came in the sixth inning. As I said, bases loaded, nobody out. The only person that got a hit was Wilmer Flores. Elliot Ramos pops out to first. Lamont Wade Jr. strikes out. And then Sam Huff punches out to end the inning. In the seventh inning, they had second and third and 2 outs. And Matt Chapman punches out. We'll talk about his slump in a little bit. At the same time, you look at some of these opportunities, and you had the main guys in the lineup up. In the eighth inning, once again, you had first and second and 2 outs, and Fitzgerald flies out. In the ninth inning, a walk by Yastrzemski. Willie Adames hits a double. Second and third, and nobody out. 2 punch outs by Jung-Hoo Lee, Matt Chapman, and a ground ball by Elliot Ramos. And there was the opportunities. The Giants could have bounced back in this game, but they didn't. Jung-Hoo Lee gets a double. He's got 8. He's leading the National League. Wilmer Flores, 19 RBIs, 6 home runs. He's 14 for 51 out of those 14 hits. 6 of them are home runs. So the Giants lose today 8-4. They go 10-4. And we're going to get to some of these slumps these Giant hitters are on. But we go on the opposite side. Let's look at the pitching today. And Jordan Hicks, the third time around, got chased. There was no question. Some of the balls he pitched were flat. I mean, he was trying to throw a sinker in. It was not sinking in. Matter of fact, I want to know why he's not throwing more pitches in. He's trying to get the sinker in, and he's got a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, but he really didn't use the fastball that much today. He used sinker, sweeper, splitter. And when you look at his numbers, 94 pitches, 55 for strikes, 16 first pitch strikes, and 23 hitters that he faced. 6 3-ball counts. He ended up getting 3 walks with 23 hitters that he faced in the game. And it all came down. He got out of the second inning, got out of the third inning with a nice 1-2-3 inning, got out of the fourth inning with just a walk. But the fifth inning is when the top of the order came up the third time around. And Ben Rice, what a big kid. Boy, really a good player, 26-year-old lefty. He was DH today. He started off the inning a 2-2 sinker, and he got it across the plate. It didn't go down, and he ends up getting a base hit. Aaron Judge coming up, and he really threw the ball by him today a couple times. And I was looking for something away, and he tried to throw the sinker in. The ball's inside, but it's too far. It's not inside. It's more of a quarter part of the plate. And Aaron Judge gets a 2-2 pitch on the inside, and he goes to left field. Now it's first and second. Here's the mistake that I really want to jump on with Jordan Hicks here. He goes 0-2 on Bellinger with first and second, and he's trying to get a ground ball here, and he tried to elevate. Well, the ball didn't elevate, and Cody Bellinger hit the 0-2 mistake into right center field, and run scores. And I thought that was a huge mistake in that fifth inning, giving the opportunities to the Yankees to score. Paul Goldschmidt once again hits the first pitch, and it's a sinker, but it's not sinking. It's more flat. He goes the opposite way. We've seen this happen a lot with Giants fans. Goldschmidt goes double down a right field line on a sinker on the first pitch he sees, and the Yankees are really hot right now. The first 4 hitters getting on base with hits. And here is when he just kind of fell apart. He walks Chisholm and loads up the bases, and he was done at that time. 94 pitches in that inning. He threw 21 pitches, only 13 for strikes. That was the worst inning he had in the pitch count and getting in trouble. Randy Rodriguez almost got out of this, and he's been throwing consistently out of the bullpen. He gets a sac fly to get the first out. He punches out Wells, and he had Dominguez 2-2, and I really felt that this was a great pitch for him. And he left a fastball just on the outside corner. Dominguez just got enough of it to get it out to left field for a base hit, and that was the hurting right there. They ended up getting 5 runs in the bottom of the fifth inning and opened the game up to 7-2. Giants had opportunities, but I thought that fifth inning, the third time around, Jordan Hicks did not do anything different but continue to throw sinkers. And the sinker was hard. It was fast, 93, 94, but it just didn't have that last bit of bite on it. And the right-handers caught him, and the left-handers also. So overall, Jordan Hicks, tough game today as he picks up 7 earned runs on this earned run average that he really dwindled down the first 2 starts. He goes 4 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. So a tough outing for Jordan Hicks. When you look at what he's done, 46 sinkers he threw. Really was heavy on the sinkers. 23 sweepers, 13 splitters. And this is the question I'd like to find out, why he's not throwing more cross-seam fastballs. He only threw 12 today. And, of course, we have seen him throwing that cross-seam fastball at 99 to 100 miles an hour. And today he was stuck with the sinker. High was 98, but most of it was 96, 95. And as I've been saying, it was flat. It wasn't dipping at the end that we've seen. So the Giants end up losing tomorrow. The rubber matchup, of course, the hottest pitcher the Giants have right now has been Logan Webb. He is pitching against, of course, an ex-Giant, Carlos Rodon. And he has been getting lit up here. So possibilities here, yes, the advantage goes to the Giants. Hopefully we'll get some better weather for these guys, and then they'll move into Philadelphia for 4 games. 808 KNBR, let's talk about this game. We'll dive into some of these numbers as the show continues. Lou Trevino, had a nice chat with him this week, and as well as Jeff Nelson. Jeff Nelson was one of the top relievers the New York Yankees had. He's a broadcaster with the Yankees and the Marlins, 4 World Series champions with the Yankees, and I got a chance to catch up with him to talk about this Yankee team, their bullpen, and some of his career. 808 KNBR, let's get on the phone calls. Let's take a quick break. Got a couple on hold right now. My name's Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. It is Saturday. The Giants lost today 8-4. They're 10-4. Great season so far. Big rubber match coming up tomorrow. So we'll get a quick break. We'll come back with more right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM, the sports leader.
Back on the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in San Francisco. Too bad we couldn't give a little of the sunshine or weather to New York because it was gloomy, cold, breezy. Woo-hoo-hoo. It was too cold out there to play baseball as the Giants started the game at 41 degrees and 30 degrees or less in wind chill. A tough day. The Giants just couldn't put it together. 8-4 to losers to the New York Yankees. Rubber game tomorrow right here. First pitch 10:35 a.m. Logan Webb 1-0 with a 1.89 earned run average against Carlos Rodon, and he's 1-2 with a 5.19 earned run average. So we got to talk about a couple situations here in the lineup with the San Francisco Giants, and we've got a couple players that are struggling a little bit, and I think the first one we got to talk about is Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman last Saturday was 2 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs when the Giants beat the Seattle Mariners 4-1. Since then, it's not been good. 0 for 20. 0 for 20. It was 0 for 3 Sunday, 0 for 3 Monday, 0 for 4 Tuesday, 0 for 5 Wednesday, 0 for 1 yesterday with 3 walks, and today 0 for 4. He is struggling big time. He's 0 for 20 when you look at what his numbers are, 9 for 49 on the season with a 184 batting average. Another one in the lineup today, Lamont Wade Jr. taken out of the leadoff spot, hitting in the 6th spot. He took an 0 for 4 today. He is 5 for 44 on the season, hitting 114. And the newest member of the San Francisco Giants, Willie Adames, had 2 nice hits today. He's 11 for 56 on the young season. But we're talking home run power here, fans, and he has not hit a home run in 121 at-bats going back when he was a Brewer last year on 9/14/24, the date when he hit 2 home runs, and he has not hit one yet in the orange and black uniform. Just some ugly numbers as we start the season. They're 10-4, nothing to be worried about. These are 3 fantastic players, but concerns as we talk about as we move on, especially on this road trip. 1 more game tomorrow, 4 in Philadelphia, and then next weekend 3 against the Anaheim Angels. All right, let's get to the phone calls. 808 KNBR if you want to join the fun on a Saturday afternoon. Let's go to Don in San Francisco. Don, you're on the Extra Inning postgame show. How are you doing on a beautiful day?
Oh, fine. How you doing today, Bill? Yeah, Bill? I'm
doing good. Beautiful weather here, Don, but boy, oh boy, it was freezing cold and rainy in New York the last couple days.
I could imagine. I don't think I could have maybe went to the game there. It was so darn cold. I couldn't take it. I couldn't even take it.
Yeah, it's just difficult because, Don, when you're playing in the cold weather, and of course they were playing here, and it's cold night games, sure, but it's not as cold as it was. It's difficult it's difficult to loosen up. It's difficult to even concentrate because it's just so bitter cold.
I'm more concerned about the Giants. I'm a little disappointed. They did not do too big. I know they did some. They got some players, but they did not get a clutch hitter. They need a clutch hitter on this team.
Yeah, I think what you're looking for is a bigger bat in the middle. And, of course, the player Encarnacion, who ended up having surgery on his hand, I think that was a big name and a big hitter that really had a nice spring until he hurt himself toward the end. Wilmer Flores is really picking up the pace there. He's healthy. You can't really argue about 14 for 51 with 6 home runs, 19 RBIs. But I think you're looking for a bigger hitter, maybe a bigger bat, a bigger name, somebody like that. And I don't think Buster Posey was ready to jump into free agent market. He did with Willie Adames and Justin Verlander. But until now, the hitting has been good. Today, they only get 6 hits. You got to look at the weather. Yesterday, they really didn't hit the ball that well. Yesterday, they only had 6 hits, but they got 11 walks. So, Don, let's just give them a little breathing room and see if some of these hitters can get back to normal and get their batting averages up. Team batting average only hitting 230, something I'm sure that Pat Burrell knows and Damon Minor, and let's see if the adjustments can be made.
Oh, thanks a lot, Bill.
Yep, appreciate it, Don. Thank you so much. And you start looking at team batting average. They're 18th out of 30 with a 230 batting average, 15 home runs, 64 RBIs. But then you look on the Yankees side, and the Yankees, of course, are big time. World Series champs last year. Their team bat average is 260 going into today. How about this number, Giants fans? 27 home runs in 14 games. That's right, 27 home runs. That's a big number. Aaron Judge, of course, is having just a spectacular start this year. Last year, if you remember, he did not get hot until the month of May. All right, let's go out to Bend, Oregon, and let's talk to Steve. Steve, you're on an Extra Inning post-game show on Saturday. How are you doing today?
Good, Bill. Happy 2025. Glad you're back at
I appreciate
KBR.
your time. I appreciate you calling in. And, those the elements of the game, Steve, people just don't understand how hard it is to play a summer sport in cold weather.
Well, I mean, come on. They should. You should be. You would thrive in a game like that. That's just like a summer day at Candlestick. What was going on in New York, right?
That's a good call right there. It was pretty cold back then, but when you throw the rain and the drizzle and constantly having Diamond Dry put on the mound, and it's just tough to feel the pitch. And, pitchers have a feeling off their fingertips on breaking balls, on sinkers and change-ups. That's the hard part. That's the hard part on the pitching side. On the hitting side, getting jammed and having your hands rattle for a couple innings don't feel well either.
Yeah, hands feel like bees, and when you grip the ball, you can't put pressure on a specific finger to make it move the way you want to, or you don't know. You can't really tell on the pressure you're putting on the ball for sure. I was thinking Wade early in the season, man, he was scalding the ball. I'm surprised he doesn't have 10 hits by now, but he's just not getting lucky this year. Chapman, isn't he typically a slow starter? I seem to remember he was
most of the time.
year.
Last year he started off slow too, but again, the spring training screwed him all up because he signed so late. But the 0 for 20, I mean, when I heard John Miller say that, I looked back and I'm like, he's hitting fourth, and you're not thinking, man, I thought he had a couple hits in that Red Series. He didn't. He was really scuffling, 0 for 12. And hitting the ball solid, no question, but you can't buy a hit. And today he came up in a couple clutch situations. He got a walk in the 6th inning, but with 2nd and 3rd, I was looking for him to drive a ball. He went 3-2, but he chased that fastball up and punched out in the 7th inning.
Yeah, you get a little desperate, you start chasing. The thing is with slumps, though, is they're not as bad if you have good pitching and defense. Mm-hmm. That'll cover you, but I think last year they relied on the big bats and their defense up the middle wasn't there. I will say this, just early on in the season, we're not seeing a lot of wasted outs. These guys are fighting at the plate.
I agree. They're definitely better. They're definitely putting the ball in play, getting the counts deeper.
Yeah.
When you look at this 2-game series, 41 full counts. Think about that. 41.
Wow.
And then yesterday, the Yankees walking 11 hitters. I mean, that's not big league pitching at all.
No, and you see small victories. You can picture Posey and Melvin saying, "Look, if you're not going to get the ball in play, work the count. Get it to 3-2 for the next guy." And they're not tolerating swinging for the fences with runners in scoring position. You can really see him shortening up, and just a big difference on that one. A couple of things I thought for Hicks. Bill, what do you think? 2 more starts for this guy? Make it a short leash. If these aren't quality starts, maybe think about, putting him into the bullpen and bringing up a Kyle Harris.
That conversation, Steve, that conversation came up all last year, and then he injured himself and he came back in a bullpen. They have to go with what he requested. He came over here, signed a 2-year deal, and he said, I want to be a starting pitcher. You can't just flush the toilet on him and say, no, you're going to the bullpen. They're going to give him opportunities. When you look at his first 2 games, like I brought it in, 11 in the third innings, only gave up 7 hits. And 11 punch-outs. But the only thing I disagreed on what he was using in the 5th inning, he kept going sinker, and it was flat. Yeah. I would have loved to seen a little cross-seamer at 99 to 100 a couple more times. He just fell in love with that sinker. Sam Huff's a tough guy. You don't want to disregard his knowledge of the game, but you're using a young catcher that, he's probably cold as ice behind home plate trying to catch a guy that's throwing 97, 98, and he's going exactly what Jordan Hicks wants. And I think that's maybe a little negative toward Sam Huff in calling a game. I think maybe there should have been a little more help.
I thought he developed a changeup, or am I thinking of somebody else? Didn't Hicks?
No, he's got a splitter. He's got the splitter.
Okay, all right.
So, and he only used that. He only used the splitter 13 times and the fastball 12 times. 25 pitches out of the 94. And I thought he has a real good splitter. But again, we don't know if that was a bad grip with the weather, if it slipped out of his hand, because as you know as well as I, it's the second and the middle finger holding the ball, and you really have to push it through it to get the splitter good. But I'm just a little angry at the fastball. He did not bring 98 to 100 with that cross-seam fastball at all today. And I just don't know why that wasn't brought into the repertoire.
Seems like he has a problem going like second or third time through an order, except for the Houston game, which he is a master. Third time. Yeah, so that's my only reason why I say, maybe 2 more starts. And, I know that was his request for signing, was that he's a starter. But, for the betterment of the team. But anyway, this team
we'll find out.
Like
Steve, we'll find out. It just hurts. It hurts as a starting pitcher. You leave him loaded. And, boy, Randy Rodriguez, I thought it was going to get out of it, and a little base hit to left field by Dominguez. It hurt Jordan Hicks. All of them were earned runs, and he ends up getting 7 earned runs in 4 innings. That's a gut punch right there. That is a tough one.
And Duvall, 1, 2, 3. So it stands a great catch by Yastrzemski.
Oh, it really
3
was.
up, 3 down for Duvall. Yeah. So that was great. Anyway, 2025, Bill. This is your year.
We're still rolling, Steve. They're still got a good start right now. 10-4. A game tomorrow. Logan Webb on the hill. But thanks for the call, Steve. I appreciate it. We talk. We're constantly talking about. Can they put the ball in play? Can they get runners in scoring position and do it? Today they didn't. And we're not just going to go right into dumpster and say, oh, no, they're again 2 for 11. They also had 12 punch-outs today, 6 walks, 12 strikeouts. So you have to look that in the eye, too, Giants fans. It was just a tough day to hit, as well as the field, as well as the pitch. And those conditions in New York, it's not an excuse. The New York Yankees played it and ended up getting 8 runs on 11 hits. But at the same time, you got to look at it, and it's not baseball weather. So we'll get that back tomorrow. And Logan Webb on the hill tomorrow. Can't wait to watch this one against the lefty Carlos Rodon. All right, let's go out to Sacramento and talk to Big Al. Big Al, Giants lose today in the Big Apple. How are you doing?
I'll be kind, Bill. I love you, and I think I believe you tell the truth. So, how am I doing? I turned off those ding-dongs. I watched the Masters. I watched the Masters, Bill, with 2 big boys that are cranking their drivers.
Whatever you do, Big Al, don't tell me. That's on hold. That's on tape, so I'll be able to watch it a little later tonight. But I hadn't had opportunities to do like you did, Big Al. I watched the Giants, and I just looked at the scoring opportunities they had in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. A key hit there, a key hit there. They might have been able to bounce back and tie this game, but it didn't happen.
Bill, I've said this to you before. Maybe I should just wait, and then we'll just see what ends up at the end of the season. Quit calling all the time. Listen, to me, and I compliment you, I loved watching you in my era then, whether it was the 70s, the Candlestick, 80s, and, of course, the new stadium. But listen, the Giants organization, the franchise, brought up guys like Chris Spire. He could hit. Fuentes could hit. We got, of course, the great Bobby. Not Barry, Bobby. What I'm saying is these guys were in the organization. When have we had Will Clark? And go down the list. I mean, the guys now are all via trade. Where's our organization to bring up legit? Not every year. And I'm not asking for Willie Mays to come in the door, every year or so. I'd love to see a spectacular player like we've seen come in. Again, I complimented that Rodriguez from Seattle. But where's those guys, those coming out of our system? That's what pisses me off.
Well, you got some young players up right now, Al, that are growing into. Elliot Ramos has become a very good big league hitter. Even though his numbers are down, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, had a nice 1 for 4 today, going out for a double. You got to look at him. You got to look at Luis Matos. Luis Matos is getting an opportunity this year. You also have to look at Patrick Bailey, a Gold Glove catcher. He is not the greatest hitter. He got a nice double yesterday. The younger players, you got to give them a little bit more rope. When I look at guys that are struggling right now, I look at Willie Adames not getting a home run in 121 at-bats. Matt Chapman, 0 for 20 for the week this week. Those are the kind of guys that I would put a little more pressure on and a little bit more of, hey, you got to come up with key hits. You got to drive the ball out of the ballpark. Put a lot of money in both these guys, and right now they're both struggling.
Bill, I'll leave it with this. You're right. I agree with you. I'm just saying that's what, because Giant fans say, what do you need? Not some of the just in love, la. Listen, if you produce over the course of a year, because baseball is a statistical year. You don't ding-dong around for 3, 4, 5 games, but over the course of a year, and then over the course of 2 or 3 years. So if guys produce, great. But if they don't, you got to question then, where's the real star? And I mean stars, Bill. I think we had 3 rookies of the year come up through the 70s and early 80s. They were players that played a long time in Major League Baseball. So I'm just looking for.
Well, I'm right there with you, Al. I agree with you. I'm sure there are some players that could be possibly traded, maybe pick up different ways. But right now, this is the 26-man roster we're looking at. And we're looking at a couple players like Mike Yastrzemski doing real well early. Wilmer Flores doing real well early. But we're looking at guys with only about 50 at-bats. So they're going to get 400, 500, 600 at-bats. I think as the season progresses, that's when we'll be able to judge some of the marquee players, some of the veteran players, some of the rookies, and then we can kind of talk about what is needed for next year. But right now, I'm going to go with this 26-man roster. I believe in this team, and right now they're 10-4. So we'll find out, Al, how this all thing dissects as the season begins.
Okay, we'll wait. Maybe I'll call you much later. We'll see how it goes. Again, my point is the farm system, Bill. The farm system.
Well, I'll disagree with you. I'm looking at Sacramento. I'm looking at Richmond, and you got some young talent. And we'll dissect into that one, Al. I'll have the numbers and names coming up here next weekend, and you can give me a call back, and I'll tell you what's coming up down the stream. But I appreciate your call today, Al. Go watch the Masters. Take an easy break and watch that little ball today. All right, that was Al out in Sacramento. And it is true. I mean, he makes some valid points, no question. But I'm going to live and die with the 26-man roster the Giants are producing right now. A 10-4 start. You can't complain about that. A dreary day in New York, and the Giants lose 8-4. 808 KNBR. Got a few callers on hold. We're going to take a quick break here and come back with more right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
All right, back on KNBR with the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. My name is Bill Laskey on a Saturday afternoon. Boy, what a beautiful day it is today here, but cold and breezy and rainy in New York. They'll do it again tomorrow. First pitch right here at 10:35. Logan Webb on the hill against Carlos Rodon. Logan Webb really throwing the ball well just the last two starts. If you saw what he did in Houston, he went 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, no walks, 6 strikeouts. And, man, did he back it up against Hunter Green in a great pitching matchup earlier in the week. Went 7 innings, 4 hits, no walks, 10 strikeouts. He's going up against Carlos Rodon. We've seen Carlos many, many games here when he pitched for the Orange and Black. He's been struggling, no question there. His last 2 outings against Arizona and Detroit, he went 6 innings in both those games, a combination of 7 hits, 9 earned runs, and he's given up a home run in every game in his 3 starts. So when you're looking at his numbers, a 5.19 earned run average in 17 and a third innings, 11 hits, 10 earned runs, 20 Ks, but again, 3 home runs. On the KNBR text line, a gentleman called and texted in, "Hey, Bill, I can't help but believe the Giants need to address first base and their backup catcher. I understand it's early in the season. Wade's been questionable for a few years. And I hate to say it, Bill, Sam Huff is being terrible as a hitter, and his throwing capabilities appear to be under average." I have to agree with Greg. There's no question. Both of those are concerns for the Giants. The backup catching position, it was so, they've been trying to do it for many years, and it's just been tough. Sam Huff came over on a waiver wire between the Rangers. He's a very experienced young catcher, just getting opportunities here and there. There's no consistency. Lamont Wade Jr. at first base. Been playing good defense, but he's, changed a couple things in his stance, came a couple things in his hands. Barry Bonds was out at Oracle this past week working with him, and he just can't get a flow with getting the ball in play. Good eye at home plate. But again, when you're looking at his numbers, 5 for 44 in this early part of the season, hitting only 114. So good stuff right there from Greg on the text line. All right, let's get out to the phone lines. Let's go to Berkeley and let's talk to Andrea. Andrea, you're on the Extra Inning postgame show. Giants lose a tough one, 8-4 in New York, 1-1 with a rubber game tomorrow.
Yes, hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good day. I mean, beautiful out here, but boy, oh boy, you know it, Andrea. The New York weather, woo, it was cold out there.
Yes, I wanted to call and put things in perspective, having grown up in New York. And it's just been, it was so cold. When I was growing up in New York, I remember in the 60s, like going to elementary school. And back in the day, believe it or not, girls couldn't wear pants.
Oh.
So you had to wear a dress, and then they changed it. You could wear pants, but then you had to take them off, and it was just can we just wear pants? We're freezing at the bus stop. It's 8 degrees.
The rules back then, we didn't have a choice, did we, Andrea? We never had a choice back then.
And frankly, one of the reasons I decided to go to Cal Berkeley was a much nicer weather, among other things, of course, because New York weather, it can be brutal. So when
East
I see
Coast
that,
right now, it's cold out there, and it's spring.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be spring, Andrea, and you're getting 40-degree weather, and tomorrow again is supposed to be a little better, but it's still gray and overcast, and you saw John and Javi with beanies on and double jackets, and you look in the dugout, you got guys with beanies with hoodies on with 3 pair of gloves. I mean, it's bitter cold, and it's so hard to compete in weather like that.
Yes, it really is hard to function. And, the calendar may say April 12th, and that's it, happy full moon. But for all intents and purposes, when it's 43 degrees in New York, you're not feeling, April and the spring, you're still freezing cold. So,
well, especially the Giants had great weather this homestand.
Right,
It was beautiful for the home opener through Seattle, and then this week a little brisk at nighttime, but still it was good baseball weather. That's one of the biggest dilemmas that when teams from the West Coast go to the East Coast in early part of the year, that's going to be difficult. Now they go to Philly for 4, and when you start looking down that East Coast, everybody's cold and rainy.
Right.
So it's that time of the year in the spring. We'll find out if the Giants can pull it out tomorrow to take this 2 out of 3 series.
Yeah. Philly fans they're rough. Remember, they threw snow
Santa Claus.
batteries.
They threw Santa Claus under the rug.
Right, they're kind of brutal. And I grew up in New York, a Mets fan. I never was a Yankees fan. And if they play the Dodgers in the World Series, I'll root for the Yankees, but that's about it.
That's
so
right.
it was just a tough game. And Jordan Hicks, he's a fellow Virgo. September 6, 1996, having his Saturn return of increased responsibility and accountability, and I know he's giving himself a hard time. It just wasn't a good start. But
yeah,
again,
I just didn't like the fifth inning, how he went after the hitters the third time around. He just really kept going sinker, and he got the ball up to Bellinger on an 0-2 where he could have really wasted something higher in the zone or even lower in the zone. He punched him out on 3 pitches in the third inning. I mean, he was blowing it by him, but then he's got to pull back and went with a 2-seam sinker too much. And I thought the splitter could have been used a little bit more for off speed, but again, like I said, the ball between the 2 fingers, maybe he didn't have good grip on it. Just a couple different things I would have used differently if I was pitching in his shoes.
Yeah, point well taken. And, this is just the timing of an East Coast trip and the weather not cooperating and making us all appreciate how nice we have it here.
I agree right there, Andrea, no question. And tomorrow will be a good one. Logan Webb against Carlos Rodon. Rodon will bring a lot of gas. Logan Webb will bring a lot of stuff down in the zone, mixing speeds. I loved what he did in Cincinnati. He felt that changeup back in his grip, and he threw a lot of them, and he was successful with it. And there's a lot of good hitters on this Yankee team, especially middle of the order. So he's going to have to mix and match with something that he'll probably have Patrick Bailey behind the plate to go against Rodon, even though Patrick Bailey will hit right-handed. It'll be a good matchup. It'll be a good final match to a 3-game series in the Bronx.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. And in the meantime, have a nice, happy, full pink moon weekend.
All right. Well, thanks, Andrea, for the call. And we'll find out what happens tomorrow right here at
look forward
KNBR,
to it.
starting at 10:35. Thanks again. We question, we question a lot of things, and I more or less, when I watch pitchers throw, I love to see what their arsenal has, and I love to watch. On Baseball Savant, if you ever go on it, it really tells you all the pitches that they're throwing at different times, and it really dissects exactly what you want to do as a fan. Take a look at it. Baseball Savant, it's really, really great knowledge on all the pitchers during the game. It really shows you what they go against right-handers, left-handers, and it dissects each pitch. And today I was just a little, like I said, a little leery because it was always sinker in the 5th inning, and I was waiting for a little bit more off-speed or a slider away, and he just didn't have it, and he got chased in the 5th inning. Jordan Hicks giving up 5 straight hits in a row. Rice, Judge, Bellinger, Goldschmidt, and that really destroyed the game for the Giants as they tried to match up with the Yankees after that. They get a little closer in the 6th with 2 opportunities in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, but it just didn't prevail for the orange and black. 808 KNBR, let's go out to San Jose and talk to Barfighter. Barfighter, how are you today?
Still a proud and long-standing member of the Lunatic Fringe. Thank you.
There you go. I figured I'd hear that as your opening.
Hey, Primetime, I don't know if you know, one of my many talents is I am an astrologer.
Well, then you and Andrea should mix and match here because, she's the astrologist that comes on the show and talks about different things. And, some of the things that I like what she talks about is when she dissects some of the players in their signs, and some of it matches it correctly when you start looking at the players and how they play and when they get in a rut, when they can play and get hot. And it's very interesting, no doubt.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm an astrologist, particularly when they're walking in front of me.
Real funny. Real funny.
Primetime, sometimes when Venus converges with Mars and I get hit with the frying pan, I get my reality back on.
All right, Barfighter. Let's get out of that conversation. What do you got for me today? Giants, what do you think of these slumps some of these guys are in? Chapman 0 for 20. When John Miller said it, I had to look back at it because I thought for sure he was getting a knock here or 2 knocks, but this week's been tough for him.
You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing chemistry developing on this team. The great thing that I like about this is that the technocrats are gone. Kapler and my old friend, the general manager or whatever he was.
Farhan Zaidi, who's in the Dodger organization again? My
favorite bar fan, my inner psyche. And I really like this team. I like it. It seems like
So do I.
scrappy
I really
team.
do. And, Jung-Hoo Lee is not getting the credit that he deserves, playing a great center field, making some great catches. How about 8 doubles so far for him and leading the National League?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's something that I think, like when we spoke last year, I came up with the phrase Melody ball, and I think the springs are being unsprung, and Melody ball is working out.
Well, the pitching has been good. Today was just one of those bad times. They're second out of 30 teams, 2.74 earned run average as a team. That tells me a lot, especially when you're looking at walks, only 44 walks, 116 punch-outs as an earned run average as a stat for the team. I like that number. I really do. And, of course, during spring training, J.P. Martinez was just instituting strike one. Today, when you look at Jordan Hicks, 16 first pitch strikes, 23 hitters, which is pretty good. But don't you agree with me? He just didn't use all his pitches during the time in that 5th inning when he got in trouble.
Yeah, I don't think he utilized all of his abilities at that point. Yeah, but the season is developing, and
sure.
The team players they've known each other for a while, but they haven't known each other where they can be in a competitive streak, and they're showing that they can be in a competitive streak with this. With the record that they have right now.
Well, they've only lost one series, and that was against the Reds this past 3 days, and they lose 2-0 and 1-0 on some great pitching by the Reds, and the Giants just couldn't enable any type of possibility of getting either one of those games. How about that comeback game on Wednesday? That was an exciting game for the Orange and Black.
Yeah, I love that. That's gonna be a memory for the rest of the season. It showed that this team has the ability and the talent to do such a comeback.
It is. And today, opportunities were there. I was just waiting for a clutch hit in that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. They just couldn't put it across. And the 2 runs that when Rodriguez gave up the hit to Dominguez, that was the backbreaker, I thought, in that 5th inning. If he could have established that and got out of that inning with only 3 runs instead of 5, I thought that was the time where the Giants could have bounced back, and Dominguez just got it over Chapman's head. It looked like a little blooper, but most likely it was a solid base hit. You really couldn't see how hard it was hit on television. That was the backbreaker in that inning, that if I felt that Randy Rodriguez could have got that last out, it would have stopped the bleeding at only 3 and kept him in a little closer. But at that time, then it turned into 7-2. And in the Bronx, it's just too tough, Bar Fighter, to come back and beat the Yankees when you're down that much.
Well, I've been to New York twice in my life, and it was in the latter part of the year, and it gets cold and rainy there.
Yeah, that was a tough day for them. We'll find out tomorrow. Logan Webb on the hill. He's been pitching dynamic the last 2 games, 2 7-inning stints, only giving up 9 hits, only 1 run. I want to see him carve up this Yankee lineup. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. But Barfighter, it's always great talking to you. We'll talk as the season continues. I appreciate your time.
Keep on rocking, my brother.
I hear you, buddy. Let's go out to Reno and talk to Mike. Mike, you're on the Extra Inning postgame show. Giants lose today, 1-1 series against the Yankees. Rubber match tomorrow. What'd you think of the day today?
Hey, Bill. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Just throwing some stuff out there today for Giants fans. A tough game, a tough weather condition type game. It's difficult. I've played in the East Coast, Midwest. It's so difficult to pitch with your fingers, trying to hold the grip of the ball and making ball do different things. And today the Giants just couldn't do it, and Jordan Hicks in that 5th inning got roughed up pretty good.
Yeah, I got to watch yesterday's game quite a bit through the delays, and that weather looks horrible, and it's hard to play. You're exactly right.
Yesterday it sounded like a downpour the whole game. It was just waiting for them to call it, and then after 5.5 they put the tarps on, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna start this game up again. No question.
Yeah,
and when they finally called it, I was like, it's about time. And both teams don't want to get their players hurt, especially this early in the season when you're only 14 games in. Of course, yesterday was the 13th game. That's the last thing you want to happen.
Yes, sir. Hey, I want to ask you a question. I know you're a pitcher, but I've been seeing this for a while. Big Giants fans. I'm just disappointed in the number of at-bats that I feel like our hitters are giving away, swinging at bad pitches. I've heard talk of situational hitting and getting runners in, moving runners over, but I just don't see what I want to see in our at-bats. I mean, Chapman's at-bats, he wastes a lot. Willie's in a bad place right now with his swing. I mean, you're pretty good friends with Pat Burrell, right?
Yeah, and I think he's done a great job. And now Damon Minor's up from AAA, which I think is just a great combination of two great minds of hitting coaches. Damon's been in AAA for many years, has a lot of these young guys, and he really has done great things in, putting the ball in play, not striking out so much. I'm not going to jump in that same bandwagon you're in. I think the Giant hitters have been doing extremely well this year with runners in scoring position. They have gone the opposite way. They put bunts down. They have really generated more runs in the middle part of the game and the end of the game, and coming back in a few of these games they've won. I just think today was just a tough day, and I threw some negative numbers out on Chapman and Willie Adames and Lamont Wade Jr., but these three guys have to compete a little bit better. They're good hitters. They can adjust a little bit better, but the only thing I'm going to agree on, I think sometimes when they get in a rut, they do swing out of the strike zone, and I think that needs to get better.
Yeah, maybe I may make myself more clear. I believe the situational hitting, moving runners, I see big improvement on that. I guess I'll call them the clean at bats where they just gotta hit, where their pitch selection inside outside, making good decisions. I feel like they give away a lot of pitches, a lot of at bats. That's all.
Well, most major league players do, though. Mike, I think we just center our attention on the orange and black, and the 9 hitters are up there. I mean, I look at the Yankees. There were situations with the Yankees today. Sure, they got key hits. Yesterday, they only got 2 hits. So it weighs out, but it's so early in the year when you're looking at only 50 at-bats most of your regulars are getting. Let's look at it when it's 250, 350, and once you get into June and July and you're playing games in nice weather, good conditions, and we'll find out if these players can, get back on top of where, we always say look on the back of their baseball cards and see how they do in a 162-game season. But we'll find out more, Mike, but I appreciate your call today. Let's hope for a good win tomorrow, and they can go into Philadelphia with a 4-game series. Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, there's some great calls right there on a Saturday afternoon. Giants lose today 8-4. Coming up next, I sat down with Lou Trevino. And Lou Trevino, of course, we all remember him, if you do, back in the days with the Oakland A's. He got drafted by the A's. He ended up pitching extremely well for the A's. He ended up going to the New York Yankees, and his elbow gave out. He had Tommy John. He's been out for a couple years. It's so tough mentally and physically. I was a pleasure. I did not have Tommy John. I didn't have rotator cuff injuries, and I don't know exactly what you go through as a pitcher when you're going through it. All I can do is talk to pitchers that have had it, and some of the ups and downs that you do. Can I pitch again? Will I be able to pitch again? Is my stuff going to be that good when I come back? And those are all the things that you dwell on as a pitcher when you're under the knife getting your elbow worked on and having a tendon removed and putting it in there. And then pretty much a year, maybe even over a year and a half, you come back and you're trying to succeed. Robbie Ray's a great example. Of course, last year he didn't pitch that much, maybe a dozen starts. This year he's throwing the ball extremely better, and he's better in shape, and your arm's in straight. Well, Lou Trevino's in that same boat, and Lou Trevino today, I thought, threw the ball well. First pitch he threw, of course, Ben Rice hits him out for a home run. Right after that, he settled in, and he threw 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So I had a nice sit-down with Lou Trevino before they got on the road trip. We talked about a lot of things that happened in his life and some of the trials and tribulations through Tommy John. So sit back. That's coming up next right here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Lou Trevino. You'll get to know him right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
All right, back on the Extra Inning post-game show with Bill Laskey. Giants lose on a cold, dreary day in New York City. They lose 8-4, 8 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for the Yankees, 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors for the Giants. They're 10-4 now, and the New York Yankees are 8-6. Tomorrow they're going to do it again right here on 10:35 a.m. right here on KNBR. And we'll see what Logan Webb has to do against Carlos Rodon. A couple good offensive games today. Willie Adames goes 2 for 5. Elliot Ramos goes 1 for 4. Wilmer Flores had the big day. He went 2 for 4 today. His 6th home run. And then he ended up getting a base hit in the 6th inning. He goes 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. He's got 19 RBIs on the year with 6 home runs, 14 for 51 for Wilmer Flores. On the pitching side, Randy Rodriguez gave up 1 hit, but he ended up coming in trying to put the lights out. He ended up giving 1 hit in 1 inning. Lou Trevino, who you just heard a little bit about of Lou Trevino, great interview right there. 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. And then Camilo Duvall throws 9 pitches, all cutters, and he has a 1-2-3 inning. Coming up next, Jeff Nelson. He pitched 15 years in Major League Baseball, mostly with the Seattle Mariners and the New York Yankees. 4-time World Series champion in the pinstripes. He's coming up next. Of course, he's the broadcaster with the Miami Marlins as well as the New York Yankees. So we'll get a little more insight on the Yankees. That's coming up next right here on KNBR on the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR. KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader. It's another great outing for the righty on your home of San Francisco Giants baseball. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. Play KNBR on iHeartRadio.